No one is sleeping much, except for my grandma. Oh, did I mention that she's back? Well, she is. She's joined some band and they're playing in town. I can't begin to tell you just how relieved I am to have her at my house. My parents are going nuts over Jayden's disappearance and will hardly let me go anywhere. The street is crawling with spider-like men, acting suspicious of everything we do, constantly snooping around. My mom is certain they're behind everything, that they've somehow kidnapped Jayden, but I'm not buying into that. It was Ruel. I just know it was. I mean, we know what she did to you, right? I stared at Jazmine's lifeless body on the bed in front of me. A tear escaped the corner of my eye, and I let it roll down my cheek. It wasn't like Jazmine could see it anyway. I sure wish she could. I so badly wished she would just open her eyes and look at me. But so far, she hadn't even twitched in her sleep, and the doctors were worried, her aunt had told me. They weren't sure she would ever wake up at all. Ever. I couldn't bear the thought. I just wish they could find her, and hopefully Jayden along with her, and hopefully alive, I said. It's like they completely vanished, just like that. I don't know how that's even possible in the world we live in today. I sighed and wiped another tear away. It was no use sitting there crying. That wasn't going to bring Jayden back or wake up Jazmine. Here you go. I looked up and my eyes met Duncan's, holding out a cup of coffee toward me. He was the one who had taken me to the hospital. He had found me at home in my room, sulking, then told me it might make me feel better to visit her. It was good to talk to her about familiar things, the doctor had said, to hear familiar voices from people that she cared about. So that was what I was trying to do, but it wasn't easy talking about all these things. Duncan had been so good to me through it all and not been jealous about me sobbing over the loss of Jayden. He knew I cared for him, he said, and he'd just have to live with that. Besides, his jealousy was centered more on Caleb these days after the run-in they had in my front yard during my date with him. Caleb hadn't asked for more dates, much to my relief, but I had a feeling he wasn't quite finished with me yet. He had managed to keep my mom out of prison for the disappearance of Mr. Aaron, who Jazmine had trapped in a Yeti cup in her room using a spell no one knew how to break. We need you, I whispered to her before sipping from my cup. Duncan didn't know about Mr. Aaron, and I didn't want to tell him since he might want to try and liberate him to prevent the war from coming between the supernaturals, aka my family and my friends, and the spiders. But I could hardly tell him that Ruel's parents had killed 2 more of them when we were saving Amy and Jazmine. He would learn soon enough, I thought. Hopefully he wouldn't know I played a part in it. He believed vampires should first protect themselves before taking care of other creatures, but how could I think that way? They were all my friends. I was never going to make an even, decent vampire. I felt Duncan's hand touch my shoulder lightly. We should get going. Your mom made us dinner. I nodded, then rose to my feet and kissed Jazmine on the forehead. I caressed her cheek, then whispered, Why did you go to her house in the first place? What were you looking for? Duncan stood in the doorway. You coming? I stared at my lifeless friend with a deep sigh, listening to the monitors beeping and the machine breathing for her, chugging away as it did. And that was when I saw it. A small twitch around her nose, like she was wiggling it. Did you see that? I asked, agitated, pointing at Jazmine. Duncan gave me a puzzled look. See what? She wiggled her nose. I'm telling you, she wiggled it. A nurse entered with a bag of fluids in her hand. She wiggled her nose, I said as the nurse looked at the monitor and began to change the IV drip. The nurse nodded, then shrugged. It's just spinal cord reflexes, a twitch if you will. You know, muscle spasms. It's very common. It doesn't have to mean anything. But has she done it before? She tilted her head. It's probably nothing. I stared down at my friend, then at her fingers. Her nails had been completely white since she was put in the hospital. They still were. No color to them whatsoever. I sighed and approached Duncan, who put his arm around my shoulder and pulled me into a hug. His body felt so cold against mine, and it caused me to shiver, but I needed it right now. For some reason, I suddenly missed Jayden's warm hugs, and I almost began to cry. He's dead, isn't he? How else can he have been missing this long? She killed him. That witch killed him. Let's go home, he said, and escorted me out of the hospital room and into the elevator where he pushed the button to go down. He leaned against the wall with a deep sigh, sounding satisfied.